In this video, we're going to look at reading scales on ammeters and voltmeters so that we can collect data on current and on voltage, and then we can use that information to work out resistance. Now, when you're using an ammeter, this is a device that allows us to measure the current flowing through a circuit. And at schools, we use ammeters with two scales, and they are used with different settings. There's one scale which goes from 0 to 10 amps and one scale which goes from 0 to 1 amp. And the scale that you read depends on which plug you have it connected to. So let's have a bit of a closer look. On this ammeter here, you should be able to see that there are terminals, there's negative terminal, and then there's two options for the positive terminals. So you have to have a look at the numbers here to tell you which of the scales to use. We've got a scale running over the top, which goes from 0 to 10, and we have a scale running underneath, which is from 0 to 1. If you plug into the 1, then you would use the bottom scale. If you plug into the red terminal that has a 10, you would use the top scale. Let's have a look what this looks like in practice. So in this ammeter, we've got connections for the wires going into the black terminal and then into the 1 amp. So if we're looking for the 1 amp maximum, the 1 amp maximum is down the bottom here. So we're going to use the numbers on the bottom. And you'll see the needle has deflected into the scale, so we can read it there. And you want to position your head so that this silvery thing in the background, which is actually a mirror, reflects the needle so that you can't actually see the reflection. So position your head so that you are staring right at the scale and you're on top of the scale and not reading it from a side angle. So for this one, it seems to be right in the middle of 0.2 and 0.4. So this would be 0.3 amps. For the next ammeter, we've plugged into the black terminal, and the red terminal this time is the 10 amp. We need to use the scale on the top that goes from 0 to 10. And again, position your head so that the mirror reflects the needle and you can't see its reflection. You're right above it. And you'll notice that the needle has deflected here and it's lining up with 6 on the top scale. So that's reading 6 amps. If we had connected to the 1 amp terminal, the needle would have deflected all the way to the right and be off the scale. And that could potentially damage our ammeter. So you need to make sure that you don't allow that to happen wherever possible. So let's have a look at voltmeters. You're going to see some similarities here. We use a voltmeter to allow us to measure voltage across a component in a circuit. And again, they have two scales. So let's have a closer look at how we use them. So this voltmeter, you know it's a voltmeter because it has a V in the center of the dial. And you'll see again a black terminal. We always use that one. And then we have a choice of two red terminals. And this voltmeter has a maximum of 2 volts, this terminal, and 20 volts for that one. And let's have a look at some options here. If you plug in to the black terminal and the 20 volt, let's have a look at our voltmeter. 20 volts is the bottom of the two scales, and you'll see the needle has deflected to here. So it's not as high as 5 volts. So now we've got to do a little bit of calculation. There's a line here which is slightly longer, so that must be 2.5 volts. And then the little line there would be 3, and next to that would be 3.5. So I think this would be 3.5 volts. And you can see if we put the wire into this terminal, 3.5 volts would be too big for the top scale to read, and the needle would have gone ping all the way over to the right, and we would be in danger of breaking the meter. On this one, connected to the black and the 2 volts. So for the 2 volts, here's 2.0 volts at the top. We're using the top scale. The needle is deflected right to the middle. So the middle of the top scale is 1.0 volts. So that would be the reading for that one. Again, you've got a mirror in the background, so you can position your head so the reflection and the main mirror, sorry, the main needle are on top of each other, so you're right on top, and you can read the meter accurately.